All right, today we're going to unpack a really powerful idea about the future of learning. It comes from a guide called Cultivating Tomorrow. Now, the phrase itself sounds pretty simple, right? But as you'll see, it's actually about a huge shift in how we think about education.
And boom, right away, we get hit with this incredibly bold promise. We're not just talking about, making a few small improvements here and there. This is about fundamentally making the future of education better. That's a massive claim. So what's really behind it?
It's so easy to see a tagline like that and just kind of nod and move on. But what does it really mean? How do you actually get from one sentence to a genuinely better future? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to unpack that promise.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this big promise, we've got to break it down. We're going to look at the method, the how they do it. Then we'll check out the vision, the why it even matters. And finally, the outcome, that better future they're aiming for.
So here's the whole thing, the full statement from our source. And trust me, every single word here counts. You've got the who, that's APTI. You've got the what, Montessori teacher training. And then the big why, making the future of education better. So let's start at the very beginning with the foundation.
I mean, before you can build anything great, you have to have a solid foundation, right? Every major educational movement is built on some core philosophy. And for this one, well, it all boils down to one single, really influential idea.
And that word isn't just a name. Nope. It's a completely revolutionary way of looking at education, one that's been shaping minds for more than 100 years. So if we really want to understand this promise of a better future, first, we've got to get what Montessori is all about. And right here, this is the game changer. Think about the traditional classroom, where a teacher stands at the front and just delivers information. The Montessori method flips that completely on its head. It puts the child right at the absolute center of everything. The whole goal is to empower them, to let them explore and learn in a way that feels natural and comes from within.
So how does that actually work in practice? Well, it breaks down into these key principles. It's all about creating an environment where a kid can learn by doing, not just by listening. It's about encouraging them to be independent. And this is huge. The focus is always on their own personal journey. This right here, this is the foundation we're building on.
Okay, so we've got our foundation, the Montessori method. Now let's look at the vision. The language used in the guide's title is super deliberate. It all comes down to one specific, really powerful word.
Usually when we think about education, we think about teaching, right? Just passing knowledge from one person to another. But this guide says, hold on, let's think about this differently. It challenges us to take on a whole new mindset.
And that word is cultivating. Just stop and think about that for a second. Cultivating. It's not like building a machine. It's like growing a garden. It's an organic process. It implies patience and care and a whole lot of nurturing. And this comparison just lays it all out perfectly. Teaching, that can feel like just transferring information, like a file transfer from one computer to another. But cultivating, that's totally different. It's about creating the perfect conditions for something to grow all by itself. You're not just instructing a student, you're nurturing their potential. It's a really profound shift in how you see things. All right, so we've got the philosophy, Montessori. And we've got the vision, cultivating. So the big question is, how do you actually connect those two things to make that better future happen? Well, the answer is the teacher. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? An idea is great, but it's only as good as how you bring it to life. So how do you take these really powerful concepts and make them real, right there in the classroom? Well, the source material actually lays out a pretty clear path. It says that specific training is the bridge that gets you there. When a teacher masters the Montessori method and really adopts that cultivator mindset, they become the one who can actually make that better future a reality. And this leads to a really key insight. In this model, the teacher's role it's elevated. They're not just a dispenser of facts anymore. They transform into a guide, someone who prepares the environment, who watches the child, and who helps them on their own unique journey of discovery. In short, they become the cultivator. Okay, let's bring this all home. We've basically taken one powerful sentence, broken it down into all its pieces, and really looked at the promise hiding inside. So, remember, we started with the philosophy, Montessori. Then we looked at the vision, this idea of cultivating instead of just teaching.
We saw how teacher training is the action that ties it all together. And where does it all lead? To that one big goal, a better future for education.
And this quote, man, it just sums everything up perfectly. The power to create that better future, it doesn't come from some policy handed down from on high. It comes from the people on the ground, in the classroom, who are nurturing the potential inside every single kid. And that's really where this whole thing leaves us. See, the source material isn't just making a statement. It's throwing down a challenge. It's turning the question around and asking you, if you are the cultivator, if you have the right tools and the right mindset, what kind of future are you going to grow?